What's up everyone, Soldier First Class here. In today's mission, we have a Final Fantasy VII Remake theory. Now I believe that Barret was kicked out of Avalanche, and that Avalanche will be more fleshed out in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I'm not talking about Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge, I'm actually talking about the whole organization. So stay tuned soldiers, it's time for our next mission. Before Crisis shed light on the other branches of Avalanche, something that was never discussed in the original game. It appears as if more Avalanche will be making their way into the remake, whether in person or in references. This theory will dive into Barret's character, using things we've actually discovered from the Final Fantasy VII Remake website. We'll also be using examples from the original game to help support this theory. In Final Fantasy VII, the lines between good and evil are severely blurred. The bad guys are definitely bad, but even the good guys employ methods that are morally questionable. For example, blowing up reactors, which not only causes damage but death of innocents. It makes sense that these methods may not only draw heat from Shinra, but other factions as well. The Japanese Remake Twitter page tweeted today for people to check out the updated website and see Barret, Tifa, and Summons added to the site. Heading over to the English version of the site, I decided to check out the character profiles for the newly added pair. Turns out, we got some minor backstory for Barret that I think to this point has never been discussed before. I believe Barret didn't start his own branch because he was a great leader, I think he did it because he was excommunicated from the real Avalanche. While reading the character description for Barret, the first line states, the leader of an independent Avalanche cell in Midgar, Barret was disavowed by the Old Guard for his extreme methods that attracted too much attention. He subsequently came to Midgar, where he resolved to continue to pursue his vendetta against Shinra with a small but trusted group of followers. When not fighting against the corporation, he and his comrades serve in the neighborhood watch and keep the people safe, including his daughter Marlene, who he dotes on as a loving father. The first line is what stuck with me, independent and disavowed. This means the Old Guard, or original branch of Avalanche, have basically denied all association with Barret. It stated that this was due to his extreme methods. Avalanche always seemed like a shoot first, ask question later type of organization, but it appears that there may be more depth to them. Maybe they like to stick to the shadows, completing their goals behind the scenes. As we know all too well, that's just not Barret's style. He's very straightforward and to the point. I mean, he orders the destruction and bombing of 2 Mako reactors inside Midgar, so the guy isn't exactly discreet. Barret has extreme methods of getting what he wants and will stop at nothing in his vendetta against Shinra. Even when the party questions their methods, Barret is quick to justify the means to the ends. We'll play a few clips from the trailer that show this off.
This couldn't have been us.
But what if it was?
What's done is done.
It ain't pretty, but we can't stop now. This was just the first reactor. Y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice.
Even though their resolve is strong, the other members of Avalanche are questioning themselves after witnessing the results. So you may be asking why Tifa, Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge follow Barret, knowing his methods are extreme. I think what it comes down to is backstory. Tifa hates Shinra because of the Nibelheim incident and what she's seen they're capable of. Typically when a faction has a rift or a split, members follow leaders that they're loyal to. It's possible that this is the category that Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge fall into. And then we have these extra members. Basing their operations in a bar in the slums, they likely have people from the slums that are tired of the Shinra oppression. With a few convincing words and a stiff drink from Tifa, these members could be convinced to fight back and therefore join the cause. So why is Barret so extreme? Barret has been broken by the Shinra, and as we know from the original game, he loses his village and his best friend Dyne to their treachery. He has to live every day with the fact that Shinra destroyed his whole world, and this time around he has a daughter to take care of. For Barret, his methods are justified and he will stop at nothing to bring Shinra down. The planet's cries, these are just excuses for him to justify what he's doing for revenge. I believe we're going to see a more vindictive Barret, and a deeper one at that. Final Fantasy VII's story is extremely dark, but sometimes the chibi models and funny animations added charm to an otherwise grim story. With fully HD character models, facial expressions, and voice acting, we're going to see a deeper hatred for Shinra than we ever have before. If you thought the scene with Dyne was powerful then, imagine what it will be like in the remake. For me, I believe Barret to be more unstable than the original game is portrayed. You can see in the demo for the Guard Scorpion, Barret almost shoots Cloud thinking he double-crossed him. I realize that that could have been anyone's response, but Barret was so quick to want to pull the trigger. If he was any more unstable, Cloud would be dead. Looking at every great revenge story, they typically don't turn out well, or they have a character revelation moment. The remake should explore this with Barret and give him more depth and insight into his revenge plot. Show us how tormented he is on the inside. This is a really good chance for them to get the fans to fall in love with his character and understand his pain at the same time. So let's look at scenes from the original game that help support this part of my theory. When the party arrives at the battle square, it appears that several people have been killed, and the description of the suspect was a man with a gun arm. They instantly believed that Barret had just finished massacring an entire group of people. They were worried that he had finally snapped. If they really didn't believe Barret could do something like that, why did the thought sink in? Was it the description of the suspect, or is it something deeper there? I think the party knows that while Barret is their friend and partner, he's emotionally damaged. The psychological aspects of video games can be very deep, and the remake should look to explore this. PTSD is a powerful issue in our world, and it's clear that Barret suffers from it. These are things I don't hear anyone else talking about, and I think it would be amazing for Square Enix to dive into this aspect of Barret's character. We also know that Dyne will be a major part of Barret's self-realization. Seeing the amount of revenge that Dyne wants, it becomes clear to Barret that Dyne is a broken man. Dyne wishes to kill everyone and everything because he feels as if his life is already over. He's obviously suffered a psychotic break to the point that he's willing to kill his former best friend and kill his own daughter after discovering she's alive. This will be the moment I believe Barret's eyes will open to what he's done himself, and I'm hoping that all of these ends will tie together with his entry into Avalanche. It makes a lot of sense to me that Barret would be blinded by his revenge. It also makes a lot of sense that his methods would draw resistance from the leaders of Avalanche. I believe we'll be seeing more of Avalanche in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I think there'll be some more interactions with Barret and his former colleagues. We've seen a new character from Soldier, so why not more Avalanche characters? They could also become potential enemies of the current Avalanche in an attempt to quiet the attention that Barret has brought to them. It would truly make it your party versus the world at that point, but maybe there's another use for an expanded Avalanche. Because Barret was kicked out, he likely harbors anger towards his former group. That being said, if Barret does have his self-realization moment in the remake, the original Avalanche may be involved in this. There could be scenes where Barret makes it right with them and they go on to assist the party in some way, or maybe it will just be an expansion of lore. Maybe Avalanche was wiped out and Barret will feel remorse that he wasn't with his former brothers. There's a wealth of possibilities with the Avalanche plotline, and with all the current expansion we're seeing, anything is possible. I hope we get this kind of depth with every character in our party and every character out of it. Overall, there's a lot of aspects of Barret that could be explored in this remake and in extension, Avalanche. I'm hoping that the remake will explore more of the backstory and motivations of these characters and that some will have a self-realization moment. Psychological issues amongst an oppressed people are an issue we see in everyday life. With these characters getting more and more human, it's likely some of these issues will be brought to light in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So what do you think, soldiers? Will Barret and Avalanche get some much needed character expansion? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to omni-slash that like button. Let me know in the comments section below if you'd like to see Barret's character more fleshed out in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to join the ranks of Soldier today. And for all the latest Final Fantasy VII Remake news, rumors, and trailers, I'm Soldier First Class, and I'm on to the next mission. Later, guys.